Have you ever just stared at your to-do list and felt like you were trying to drink from a fire hose? It is absolutely endless. Tasks just keep piling up, and that feeling of being completely swamped, yeah, it's real. But what if I told you there's a surprisingly simple, if kind of weird, method to not just manage that list, but to completely conquer it? Let's dive in.
So let's just start with a hard truth, right off the bat. If you feel like you'll never, ever be on top of all your work, well, you're right, you won't. And according to author Brian Tracy, just accepting that fact is the very first step toward a way more effective way of working.
Okay, so if you can't get everything done, then what's the point? How do you actually win the battle for your time and make progress on the things that really matter? Well, the secret isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things first.
It's so tempting to fall into what we call the productivity trap. This idea that if we just work faster or maybe pull longer hours, we'll finally get ahead. But you know what? It's a losing game. New tasks will always show up. Just trying to do more isn't the answer.
The real solution, according to the book, lies in a simple but really powerful metaphor. It is all about frogs. And no, I'm not talking about the slimy amphibian kind. Your frog is your single most important task.
So what exactly is your frog? Well, it's that one task on your list that you know you're most likely to put off. It's big, it's intimidating, maybe it's a little ugly, but it's also the one thing that will have the biggest positive impact on your day, maybe even your entire career.
And there are two really simple rules for eating these frogs. Rule number 1, if you have to eat 2 of them, you've got to eat the ugliest one first. That means you tackle your biggest, hardest task right away. And rule number 2, if you have to eat a live frog, don't just sit there and stare at it for too long. In other words, once you've decided, just get going.
Okay, so you're ready to eat the frog. Great, but which one is it? How do you identify the right frog on your plate? You can't just jump in blind. The key here is planning. You have to set the table before you can even think about starting the meal.
You know, there's a great quote from productivity expert Alec McKenzie that says, "Action without thinking things through is a prime source of problems." And it's so true. In other words, clarity is king. Before you can eat your frog, you have to be absolutely crystal clear on what it is and what done actually looks like.
One of the best tools for finding that clarity is something called the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. It's this simple idea that just 20% of what you do will be responsible for 80% of your results.
Think about your to-do list for a second. A few of those items, the vital few, those are your frogs. They're the tasks that will actually move the needle. Everything else? That's the trivial many. The tragedy is, most of us procrastinate by focusing on that easy, trivial stuff first, just because it feels better.
And this leads to this brilliant little mindset shift, creative procrastination. See, you can't do everything, so you have to procrastinate on something. The trick is to be deliberate about it. You consciously choose your posteriorities. Those are the tasks you're going to do later, or maybe not at all. This is how you take back control.
So, how do you put all this into practice every single day? Well, there's a simple but incredibly powerful system for this, and it's called the ABCDE method. Here's how it works. You go through your list and you give every single item a letter. Your A tasks are your frogs, the absolute must-dos. B tasks are the should-dos, which you can think of as tadpoles. C's are just nice to do. D is for anything you can delegate, and E is for anything you can just eliminate altogether. And this right here, this is the absolute core of the entire system. It's the one rule you have to follow. Never, ever work on a B task when an A task is still left undone. You have to resist that temptation to go for the easy little tadpole when there's a big frog just waiting to be eaten. And you can actually take this a step further. If you have multiple A tasks, you just number them, A1, A2, A3. Your A1 task, that's your king frog. It is your absolute top priority for the day. And that is always where you start. So, you've identified your frog, you've planned your attack, and you've got your ABCDE list. Now comes the most important part, actually taking action. Because when you do, believe me, there's an incredible payoff waiting for you.
You know, there's actually a biological reward built right into the system. Every time you complete an important task, every single time you eat a frog, your brain releases endorphins, giving you this natural high. And this positive feedback loop makes you feel more confident, more creative. You can literally become addicted to accomplishment.
Ultimately, this whole thing boils down to one single word: action.
Planning and prioritizing are absolutely crucial, but they're useless without it. Real success comes from launching into your most important task and just staying with it until it's 100% complete.
So here it is, your 4-step game plan for conquering procrastination. Number 1, identify your biggest, ugliest frog. 2, plan your attack on paper to get that clarity. 3, organize your day with the ABCDE method. And 4, tackle your A1 frog first thing in the morning. No hesitation.
So, let's make this real. It's not about what you learned in this explainer, it's about what you're actually going to do tomorrow. So I want you to think, right now, what is the one task that if you did it, would have the greatest positive impact on your life? What's your frog?